There's no fixing it. There's no fixing it. This is going to be a total collapse that his removal from office can only fix. All right, I will let you listen carefully to Rachel Maddow in MSNBC, how she actually itemized.
Do you remember where Trump got the tariff thing from in the first place? Do you remember like when and why and how we started talking about tariffs in the first place? It was in his first campaign for president. Trump didn't really have any formal economic advisors. So he told his son-in-law, Jared, to find him an economic advisor. Trump reportedly gave Jared some vague ideas of what his thoughts were on economic issues, you know, something, make me look tough, China bad, something. Jared then decided to find his father-in-law a financial advisor for his presidential campaign by going on the Amazon.com website and starting to browse books. Not like reading the books, because you can't do that on the Amazon website. He was just looking at the covers, looking at the titles. And he found a book title that he thought was so cool. The title was Death by China. Oh my God, that's so cool. That's so awesome. And that apparently was a quote from Vanity Fair. Trump gave Jared a summary of his views and then asked him to do some research. Kushner went on Amazon, where he was struck by the title Death by China, co-authored by a man, Peter Navarro. Jared then cold called Navarro, a well-known trade deficit hawk who agreed to join the team, economic advisor.
Unbelievable.
Navarro was a major advocate of aggressive pro-tariff policy. Where did Peter Navarro get his idea that tariffs would be a good policy for that? What was his backup for that conviction? Well, he did have back from a real expert. Cited in at least a half dozen of his books, including the one that Jared found on that fateful day. In all of his books, Peter Navarro has cited an economics expert to justify his views. And the economics expert he cites is somebody named Ron Vera, V-A-R-A, Ron Vera. When Trump won the presidency and entered the White House, Ron Vera started circulating a memo around Washington in support of Trump using tariffs in trade policy. According to the New York Times, the memo had been, quote, sent from an email address purportedly belonging to Ron Vera. At one point, Ron Vera wrote in the memo that Trump could, quote, ride the tariffs to victory. The problem is Ron Vera doesn't exist, he never has. The economics expert that Peter Navarro has long cited to explain why he's so gung-ho, this person, Ron Vera, is a made-up person. He is a fictional person.
Tell me about
Peter
it.
Navarro invented Ron Vera as his expert source so he could quote this expert source over and over again in his crackpot books. Who is Ron Vera? Ron Vera is an anagram of Navarro, which is his last name. I mean, my name anagrams to Macho Waddler.
Yep.
I don't see myself
Ron
trying
Vera
to talk
is
you into
Navarro.
doing what
Yep.
Macho Waddler wants.
All you have to do is remix it.
But that really is how the Trump administration crafted its tariff. That's where it came up with the tariff idea.
Unbelievable.
Circulating a fake memo from a fake person with a fake email address in order to make it look like this was a serious issue being debated by real experts. That is the intellectual basis on which Donald Trump today wiped $6 trillion of wealth out of existence and crashed America's markets and brought America and the world to the brink of a self-inflicted, on-purpose, global Great Depression along the lines of what we had in 2008 and what the pandemic inflicted upon us in 2020. This time, the global disaster is Donald Trump's big brain.
Just imagine that for a second. Just imagine that for a second. You know, this is crazy. It's lunacy, you know? And it wouldn't be crazy if everybody is on point in the same, angle when it comes to understanding of who Trump really is? Because he's very clear. It's not in shadow at all. There's no playing chess here. Three-dimensional chess. Do not let anyone fool you that this guy is playing a three-dimensional chess. No, he's not that smart. He's not that smart. He cannot identify a two-dimensional chess, let alone three-dimensional chess. He's a guy who hopped and puffed into ideas that people bring into his table. It's not just Navarro that brought a tariff idea. You see, the Green Line idea was spotted online on the social media platform of the right-wingers who were just making jokes. I'm serious, guy. They literally were making jokes, and Trump picked it up, and that become a policy. The Canada, as the 51 state, is literally a joke in the right-wing platform on social media. They literally crack jokes about these, and Trump picked it up and he made it a policy. There's no fixing it. There's no fixing it. This is going to be a total collapse that his removal from office can only fix. Believe it. Believe it. Even if he changes all the cabinet from A to Z, this is no fixing in this. Just like Tesla have gone into the gutter with no reviver whatsoever unless Elon Musk disappeared as the CEO. So is America is already in shambles unless this particular president excuse us. Please write today's date down. Today's 4th, 7th, 2025. Sala blue on cold blue in America. There's no fixing this for Trump. He already created the mess. The mess is already out of hand, out of his control, and there's no fixing it for him. Somebody else has to do this. Remember 2008 when it got out of hand for George Bush and he couldn't fix it? Yep. This is worse. This is worse. Throughout the world, as I speak to you, the whole world is in upside down mode in response to something he called tariff, that the number don't add up. The numbers on that shitty thing don't add up at all. You can't make any money from it. It makes no sense to anybody that have common sense. And just for that, the whole world is in shambles as I speak to you. So now they are trying to shift the blame on Peter Navarro as the culprit, as usual. That is what usually happens. It's never Trump's fault. It's always somebody else's fault. And so in this case, Peter Navarro is the one to take the fault for it. And what did he do? Peter Navarro has been going around to explain it away. Explain it away, which is not a very easy thing to do. Listen to him.
Tax cuts. Do you know anything about letting the top marginal rate go? Are you a proponent of letting that go from 37 back above 39.6 to try to pay for some of this other stuff? Because you know how many small to medium-sized corporations pay taxes at those rates if they're
Joe, that one's not my lane. I let Scotty
well, you just said
and
we're
Kevin
going to
do
cut
that.
taxes. That's not. You
But
add
look,
all this together.
No tax
you add all
on
this
tips.
together, and it's not
no
looking.
tax on overtime. No tax
Okay,
on
got
Social
that.
Security. Tax breaks for if you buy
But
a
if you raise
domestic
the
auto.
top rate, that's not a Republican or a conservative
You're
tenant.
asking
I don't
the wrong
know
guy.
whose idea was that. So the tariffs are all your. So you own the tariffs then.
Joe,
I don't know if I'd want to know that.
you're going
or
after
not
me
either.
for something
Right.
that I'm not
Okay.
involved in. I can
Can I
talk
ask you-
tariffs till the cows come home. Hey, Becky,
Okay,
how are you?
let's talk a little more.
Tax cuts. Do you know?
So that is Joe Kerner. CNBC owns MAGA. Because if you need anybody who is a Trump supporter in CNBC, that's him. And he can't even figure out what this is all about. And Peter Navarro, unfortunately, cannot explain it. Because in the first place, he didn't write his book for American government to use it. It just happened that we find ourselves in a place where we have a president who don't know what he's doing, and he needed a book on Amazon. He needed a book on Amazon.com. He picked it up, and then he turned everywhere upside down. Even the guy who wrote the book cannot explain anything in it. Because, trust me, he did not write this book for a usage in American government. He wrote it so that some people looking for opinion will pick it up and read it, and it can become a bestseller. And I can tell you this, the book was sitting there on Amazon, not moving, it's not reaching any stage. It's not, and until now, he now become a bestseller because the president picked it up as his playbook. Unfortunately, even the author of this book cannot explain this nonsense.
Institutes on both sides of the aisle, the methodology that was used has been universally derided as being non-serious. I don't know whether you know exactly who came up with the formula, but it allowed you to at least characterize most of these countries as being their tariffs well above the reality of the situation, so that when you say that we're going to do half on them, it was much higher than anyone anticipated. And I think you'd have to concede that this was not the market reaction you were looking for. There's a way of maybe incrementally trying to accomplish some of the things that the president wants to do in a reasonable, serious way. And this just almost across the board has caused what you're seeing in the stock market, and a lot of head scratching and head shaking on whether anyone really knows what they're doing in this case, Peter.
All right, well,
Can you at least acknowledge that?
Sure. No, I can't, because here's what I'm seeing. You're throwing a lot of stuff at me. First of all, the methodology was perfectly sound. It was done by the Council of Economic Advisors based on long-term studies that are in the academic literature. And the people taking pot shots
just BS.
are the same people that always take pot shots.
The American Enterprise Institute, Peter.
Of course. Joe,
Larry
come on.
Lindsay.
The American Enterprise Institute.
And I'm not going to advise anyone to trust these institutions 100%, but still have values to our society. You can't write them off. Because the moment you write them off, you are telling yourself that the only people you're going to believe are these clowns that throw us into this mess. There's no coming out of this. I mean, not for this administration. America is really strong. It's a very, very strong country, economically and politically. America is a huge country that is hard for any clown to destroy within a short period of time. And I believe America still have what it takes to come back quickly, but not with him. Period. I am not suggesting that he has to be removed. I am not suggesting that he has to be impeached. If we have to wait for the next 4 years to go through this pain, if that is what is going to happen, so be it. But he will not be the one to fix it. Period. Every attempt that this particular administration try to fix this problem, things is just going to get worse. Things is just going to get completely collapsed. because he is not your guy to fix the mess he created. He's just going to mess it up more. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for being here. Since you're already here, before you leave, subscribe on YouTube, follow on Facebook, be part of this great community. OGM News.
OGM News FM for news and entertainment. Sounds pretty good to me.